Many romances start in strange places. My parents' romance started in Slapout, Alabama at the local hangout for teenagers, Bonner's Dock. After a Hopeful football game, my mother and a friend went to see who was hanging out at Bonner's. My mom didn't go to Hopeful, so she didn't know many of the people there. Her friend saw someone she recognized and wanted to introduce them. After my mom and father were introduced, they spent the rest of the evening talking and laughing. They began their story together that, so far, has spanned over 18 years. My parents met in 1991 after a football game. They dated for 2 months before my father proposed. After the proposal, my parents were engaged for almost 2 years before they married in 1993. They held their ceremony at the gazebo in Millbrook. My mother and father had a good life, but they both had to work 2 jobs. My mother says that her love was tested every night when my father came home from work and woke her up, sipping an icy loudly and laughing hysterically at the television show Gomer Pyle, but she just giggled and shook her head. In an effort to improve their lifestyle, my father joined the Army. Military life was difficult from the beginning. After 5 months of training, my father got orders to go to Germany. Shortly after he arrived, my mother flew over. 1 month after my father reported in Germany, his unit was deployed to Bosnia for a peacekeeping mission. 1 month after my father was gone, my mother found out that she was pregnant with me. After 3 years of trying to conceive, this was a great surprise, only my father was scheduled to be in Bosnia for 12 months. My mother sent him a Red Cross message about the pregnancy, which was given to him by his commander, along with a pat on the back. My father got to come home after 4 months to visit, and then back to Bosnia to finish his mission. My mother mailed my father a letter every day that he was gone, telling him about the baby on the way. I arrived in September. My mother wasn't allowed to send any pictures of me to my father because he wanted to see me in person first. 3 months after I was born, my father came home and held his child for the first time. We enjoyed Germany for the next 2 years, despite 2 more deployments. After 3 years in Germany, my father got orders to Colorado. Our family of 3 was soon to be 4, as my mother was 8 months pregnant. After 1 month in Colorado, my sister arrived. My father worked hard at his job every day. My mother continued to be supportive of his career by taking care of things at home while he completed assignments in California and Egypt. After 4 years in Colorado, we moved to Kentucky. While in Kentucky, my parents were surprised with my mother's diagnosis of multiple sclerosis. Feeling like they had dealt with more than their fair share of hard times, this was very difficult for them to accept. After a year of doctor's visits and hard times for my family, my mother's MS finally stabilized enough so that she could get on medication to help minimize her symptoms of MS. My father supported her through many nights of pain and difficult times of dealing with this new evil in their lives. She said that he saved her from pain on a daily basis. After 3 years in Kentucky, my father received orders to report to Korea. So while my dad was in Korea, we moved home to Alabama. That was when I attended Hopeful Middle School for the first time, but I was only there a year as my father was returning from Korea to go back to Kentucky. Some of our friends were still there, but many were gone, as often in military life. My father worked in the same place as he did before we left for the first time, and my mother worked on post also. This time in Kentucky seemed different. After many years in the Army, my dad was debating about getting out to pursue another career. My mother supported him in this, as she had to watch him leave our family behind many times and look forward to not having to do that again. Upon leaving the Army, my parents had many discussions and talked about how things would be afterward, as this had been our life for the past 14 years. There were many conversations on this subject, both general and heated, due to the stress of completely changing our way of life. However, I believe we made the transition quite well. My family is still strong, and we love each other fiercely. Though there were many trials and tests for my parents through their 18 years together, they are still best friends and love each other very much. My mother says that when you can see that person's funny faults as funny quirks, it's got to be love, as she laughs again about being woken up by Gomer Pyle and slurping of the icy in the middle of the night. They've shown me that love and support is a key point to a successful relationship. They've supported each other in many ways over all of these years and now sit back and laugh at some of the hard times that built their life and their relationship. I've learned through my parents that families are stronger when they can laugh together and at each other and still feel loved. To me, they have the best marriage, one of joy, sharing, caring, trusting, strength, loyalty, kindness, understanding, support, and most of all, love.